Welcome back to Know for a Fact. Serial killers have become a huge inspiration for TV series and films in the last few years because they seem so fascinating to people. Someone who cold-heartedly murders several people without any kind of remorse can truly be shocking. Through the years, there have been reports of murders and deaths at the hands of killers across the world. Their stories are now an entertainment medium for the curious public. In this list of 10 serial killer facts, let's dive deep into the minds of these normal people turned psychopaths. This first serial killer's murders got out of hand. It's common to hear kidnappers and robbers stealing people away for ransom money. But it's rare to find a serial killer who wants to have the best of both worlds. Israel Key was a rapist, bank robber, arsonist, and burglar. In 1996, he pleaded guilty to sexual assaults and violent crimes against teenage girls. Key sent the family of his victim a photo of their daughter for ransom money. With this, the family was under the assumption that their child was still alive. But little did they know that she was already dead. Key sewed her eyes wide open so she'd appear alive in the photo he sent. Imagine what the family must have thought. This next serial killer won a live game show during his murder spree. Rodney James Alcala was a rapist and a serial killer who got a death sentence in California. He was found guilty of the murders of 5 women between the years of 1977 to 1985. During a time when he was on his killing spree, Alcala even won an American game show called The Dating Game. The good thing here, though, is that the bachelorette from that game, Cheryl Bradshaw, turned down all of Alcala's requests for a date. According to her, she did find him creepy and kind of different. Looks like she made the right decision. Did you know that there's a vampire serial killer from Sacramento? We all know what vampires do. They suck their victims' blood for food. But what do we know about serial killer vampires? Richard Chase is an interesting item in this list of serial killer facts. He's an American rapist, serial killer, and cannibal. In just 1 month, Chase murdered a total of 6 people in Sacramento, California. He got his nickname Sacramento Vampire because not only would he kill, but he'd also drink the blood of his victims. Wait, there's more. Chase would also cannibalize the remaining flesh. Yes, you got that right. A serial killer, vampire, and cannibal all in one person. Here's another mention about a serial killer in the form of a doctor. Health professionals are supposed to take care of sick people. But what happens when they intentionally kill their patients just for the thrill of it? Joseph Michael Swango, or also known as Dr. Death, is a doctor and a serial killer. Swango would visit one hospital after another to find his next victim. He would kill them via lethal injection. This next serial killer would release his victims in the woods. Also known as the Butcher Baker, Robert Christian Hansen is one of America's most prolific serial killers. Between 1971 until 1983, Hansen abducted, raped, and murdered 17 women in Anchorage, Alaska. What's sickening with his killing technique is that he'd let these kidnapped women let loose in the wild, only to hunt them down with his rifle. He'd eventually kill them using his knife. This was considered a sport for Hansen. What happens when a mother's love leads her to become a serial killer? Mothers are the best. They do everything for their kids. But Leonarda Cianciulli has a different way of showing this love. She was from Italy and is known as Correggio's soap maker. In 2 years, she murdered 3 women and used their body parts in making tea cakes and soap. In an interview with Leonarda, she did the murders because she believed that these women were some sort of sacrifice. She thought that if she did this, her son would be kept from harm in World War II. How do you feel about this one? America has a lot of weird serial killer cases, and Nanny Doss is one of them. From the 1920s until 1954, she killed 11 people, including her husband. Whenever police would ask her about the death of her victims, she would giggle a lot. A laugh that could send chills down your spine. Media attention gave her all sorts of nicknames, including Lady Bluebeard, the Giggling Granny, and the Black Widow. She must have thought it was a sick joke. This next serial killer really had a preference and only killed women during their menstrual period. John Norman Chapman, or also known as John Collins, is a Canadian serial killer in his time. He would pick up his female victims using his motorcycle. The bodies ended up dumped everywhere, but what's unique about his victims was that all these bodies were washed. Investigations revealed that he would only kill women who were on their menstrual period. Wonder how he knew this? Ready to hear something weird? Hamilton Howard, or Albert Fish, was a child rapist, cannibal, and certified serial killer. We already know what he does for fun. But what's interesting are the things that he does to himself. Fish was fond of burning himself with pokers and irons. He even ate his own poop. Needless to say, Fish was fascinated with cannibalism and masochism. He even told the police that whenever he masturbated, he'd stick needles deep into his pelvis to heighten his senses. That is truly bizarre. Our final mention for this video is about a serial killer with a rare genetic condition. Murderers often get convicted through the help of DNA, blood samples, and traces from science. But Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo had a rare condition that made it harder for police to charge him. He had a rare genetic condition where his blood sample type was different from that of his semen sample. From his recent murders, Chikatilo was released because the crime scenes did not match his blood type. That's one way to get away with murder. That's all for this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and smash that like button for more daily facts. See ya!